Chapter 15. Stand up straight, Maggie commanded, and the 5 backwoods girls stood at immediate attention. Now take your places. And one after another, the barefoot girls marched across the old schoolroom at the end of the upstairs hall and sat down among the rows of connected desks with the empty inkwells and fancy iron legs. Maggie stood at the front of the room facing them. You, Kate, she ordered, pointing to the first seat. Go to the globe and locate Africa. Ooh, answered Kate. What's a globe? You don't even know what a globe is. It's this thing. See? This is the globe. It's like the world. Maggie laid her hand on the smooth brown and yellow sphere all decorated with sailing ships and mermaids holding shells to their ears like telephone receivers. Now find Africa on it. Africa? What's Africa? Africa's a continent, dummy. Don't you even know that? She gave the globe a spin that blended the continents, the sea and all its mermaids and ships into a smear of tan. Here, she said, stopping it with her finger. Here's Africa. No, here, I mean. Ooh, how wonderful. Africa. Sit down, Elizabeth, Maggie ordered next. Your turn. Stand up when you speak. And she waited long enough for the backwoods girl to get to her feet. Go to the blackboard. Ooh, what's a blackboard? What's a blackboard? Maggie repeated in disdain. This is a blackboard, stupid. Don't you know that? You write on it with chalk. Except there was no chalk, and Maggie wet her finger to write her name. See, she said, watching the letters fade and leave a pale imprint. Now, what's 8 times 7? Write the answer on the blackboard. 8 times 7? What's that? It's multiplication, that's what. 8 times 7 is 56. Say that. 56. No. 8 times 7 is 56. Never mind, you're too dumb. Sit down. We'll have reading. And she took 5 books from the shelf under the window. Here, she said, placing them all with frayed bindings and faded lettering on 5 empty desks. Anne, you may begin. She picked up one of the books. Stand up and read aloud. I'll help you with the words you don't know. But when she opened the book, she discovered there were no printed words. Instead, the pages were handwritten in ink, the color of mosquitoes, not brown, not gray, no color really. And in a hand shaped like mosquitoes, too. Tiny winged letters marching across the page on slender legs. February 17th, she read. More snow today. It was somebody's diary. Margarita hid too long in the garden, it went on. And when she came in at last, her nose was blue-gray and her little wrists were flaming. We thawed her out by the stove, although that is not wise. Rub snow on her is what we should have done, but that is cruel. It seems to me that, and so she sat by the fire, looking like a roasting goose, with steam rising from her feet, and her face growing redder and redder. Maggie turned the book over in her hand and squinted at the rubbed-out letters on its cover. Daily something, it said. And then there were some numbers. 1 something, 1/8, 18, 18 something, a date. She ran her fingers over the lettering, and scattering of gold flecks clung to her skin. But she could read nothing further. Somebody's diary, she thought, and she flipped through its pages. Fewer than half were filled, and they stopped abruptly in May. Probably got kicked out of school, she thought, like me, and she studied the tiny writing some more. Some of the paper was stained with water and looked like watercolors of brown lakes against a sky of cream. March 18th, she read on another page. A strange day. Louisa and Emily put on their play, but... What is going on here? Maggie spun around and faced Aunt Lillian and Aunt Harriet in the doorway. What are you doing in this room? Aunt Lillian demanded. Who gave you permission to come in here? Put those books down. Aunt Harriet's voice rose to a high pitch and abruptly fell. Look what she's doing with the books, she added in a hoarse whisper. Come over here, Aunt Lillian ordered. Come here at once. But Maggie stood where she was, the old diary still in her hand. She stared hard at her 2 aunts, waiting for them to lower their eyes and move away. But this time they stared back. Take her to her room, Aunt Lillian finally said. And in the next moment, the diary was pulled from her grasp, and a hand on her shoulder steered her away from the desks and the blackboard, and the globe and the books, and the 5 backwoods girls with their bare feet and wondering stares. The next time Maggie tried the schoolroom door, it was locked.